it's incredible the way you've been able to, galvanize Pakistan. You talk about there, the language barrier, potential cultural differences. Now, I spoke to one previous guest, Hayden Quinn, who's a master chef, and he travels the world, and he was talking about how food can serve as a language in itself. When you travel to different countries, the flavors speak for themselves. Now, we were just talking about Nelson Mandela being one of your kind of idols or person you based a lot of your work off. And there was that quote from 2000 in the inaugural Laureus Sports Awards, where he stated that sport has the power to change the world, has the power to inspire, it has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to the youth in a language they understand. And I think that really reiterates what you're saying there about how sport, even if there is that language barrier, it is a way to galvanize the troops and really make a dent in some of those big games that you're talking about there. So in terms of the background into footy in Asia, so there was a report done by the AFL in 2022, and they looked at the participation rates across Asia. And in the last year, between 2021 and 2022, there was a 22% increase in total participation. There's now around 9,785 active participants in Asia. And that's across 15 teams. And some of the largest teams there being China, India, and Korea. And female participation, as we were just discussing before, you taking on the coaching role with the female team, that 275% increase in the last year as well. So almost triple the number of active participants across Asia. Now, in terms of, I guess, that your role in coaching the Pakistan national team, in that last year, how have you felt things change in terms of, I guess, the engagement from the players? Are they starting to become more involved in, I guess, the AFL competition in Australia and being more understanding of the rules and skills involved and required in order to perform at the highest level? And how have you impacted the players?
Yeah, certainly are. I mean, hats off to AFL Pakistan, the president, Sardar Tariq, the general secretary, Chaudhry Ali. Like, I went over there, again, there was no Australians that are running it or, working with them. They set it up all themselves in 2014. One of them saw it on YouTube and liked the game and thought, I want to bring this to Pakistan. And as I said, in 2019, I was the first Australian to travel over there. And their games, I went to national championships. They've got teams in the capital cities, 2 teams in Islamabad, a couple of teams in Multan, a team in Lahore, and plenty of interest in other the major cities, Karachi, Gujranwala. There's 3 or 4 teams up and ready to go, males and females. And as you know, and as our listeners know, it's difficult for females to play sport in Pakistan. So for the males to be encouraging and working with different organisations to get females to participate, and they love it, mate. I've never seen such passion for the game around the world in relation to they think it's they do kabaddi over there, which is a wrestling type of game. So it really is. And then they've got obviously cricket. They love their cricket. Cricket's played everywhere. Hockey, they're very strong at hockey. So it really is. I explained to them that AFL is the combination of all their sports, and it's so much more fun. And especially the girls. The girls love the tackling and physicality, and they get that opportunity to be together with a group of women, which they don't get. In the streets of Pakistan, very difficult to see women just walking around. Islamabad was really modernised and an open city, very similar to Canberra and Melbourne and Sydney. But a lot of the regional areas I went to are still very traditional in relation to their views. And again, it's not me to judge when I go back into any country. And I've done a lot of work also in sport in Fiji. That's the way it is, and I'm a guest in their country, and it is an honour to be there visiting. And if I can engage and change and develop people's knowledge, which international tourists do in different countries, as well as to learn. You know, as I said, you talked about their food's extraordinary. You know, I had an omelette, the Pakistani omelette, spice. Everything's got spice in it, you know. And my tummy didn't go too well over there, but you know, I tried every pakora and biryani, you know, all the Pakistani foods. I just love the opportunity to try different foods. Their music is extraordinary, their art, and again, their love of sports, just unbelievable, and their love of AFL. And again, that comes down, you said, the development of the game. You've got Pakistani nationals, Sardar and Chaudhry Ali, and we've got Dr. Shabazz here in Melbourne, the Vice President of AFL Pakistan. They travel the country, and I went to both trips that I went to. I made a point to go to schools, and I went to female schools as well in Islamabad and in Gujranwala, Lahore, and Swabi, and the kids loved it. They absolutely. I was just, you know, I was like a rock star. They call it like Brad Pitt. You had TV cameras, I had media conferences. You had kids coming. I absolutely got mobbed one school. You know, there was 1,000 kids on the oval. Like, I couldn't get to the car. You know, you're signing autographs and taking selfies, and all I was, you know, who am I? Michael Gallus from Melbourne, Australia, you know, school teacher. And it's just extraordinary, their love of AFL, and they all knew about Australia and kangaroos, and again, you get that opportunity internationally. It's not just coaching and developing AFL. It's you know, it's educating about it, what a great country Australia is, and discussing, you know, their view of the Western world from a Muslim nation point of view, which is very different from our view here, and the view the world has of Pakistan as well, which is skewed in certain areas. And as I said, the people are beautiful. You know, a lot of people were very poor, and yet I was invited into their house and given meals and treated like a king. And that goes to the testament of the people, doesn't it? That the ones with hardly anything will take the shirt off their own backs for an international visitor, and that's the huge impact that I saw. And again, that is why the game is developing so well, because you got good people behind it. And with me going over, with them winning the Division 3 Asian Cup in Bangkok last year, they went home national heroes on TV, and you know, lauded in their villages and in their towns. And some of the players have started up AFL teams themselves in their towns and regions, and that's why the participation rates are growing. We've got the international Asian Cup again this year in October, and then the AFL have got the International Cup in Gold Coast in 2024. So we're obviously gearing our training, and they need to get better. The players of Pakistan, they go into Division 2 this year because we won Division 3. So they have to improve, like you said, and they are.